I forgot to change the intro, so we're just going to get right into it today.
Psych!
Psych!
I love how I didn't realize you were just going to go live, and I could have been picking my nose like I normally.
That would have been really funny.
I normally have like 30 seconds to prepare.
Not today. Right into it.
Did you mess up the outro too? I bet you didn't fix the outro either, did you?
Nope.
Okay.
I did fix the Friday Bean logo, though.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Happy Friday, guys. Welcome to the Friday Bean. If you're new here, it's a lot more organized than this most of the time. I gained like 1,000 new subscribers over the last week, which is always exciting. It's always fantastic when I get a bunch of new subscribers because my video on Tuesday is my fastest growing ever. However, my mental health this week has been bad. Like the trolls on that video have been bad. So if you're new here, thanks for hanging out. For those who are new here, please keep in mind that Fridays are more long form content. Think of it more like a podcast. If you don't have time, which Tuesday's video, that was like my main comment, everybody. Normally Tuesdays, I edit my videos and I put a bunch of time into editing them and making them look perfect, right? But this was a rush topic. It was one that I needed to get out really quick. So I made some slides. I wasn't really feeling that great, but I hurried up and recorded it anyway. And of course, that was the video that blew up. And the main critique was, this girl just loves to hear herself talk. Just going on and on, not getting to the point. Like, I could kick myself for not just pre-recording and editing it. But anyway, you guys are my people. I'm happy to hang out with you. So we are continuing our charity for the Trevor Project today, so please consider donating. We're going to be running our charity till the end of June, so we're already well over $2,000. We are going to be talking about Halloween and autumn trends today, keeping in mind that there will probably be more. On this upcoming Tuesday, I'm also going to be releasing a shorter video that specifically is focusing on Halloween trends. It's going to be a little bit more, condensed. But I wanted to, obviously spend a little bit more time with you guys live and go over a couple all in general. Tuesday's video will just be Halloween. So still watch Tuesday's video. There might be some interesting additional nuggets in there too.
I fixed it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and then I momentarily switched to the end screen while in the middle of your conversation, but it was only for like 2 seconds, so you're fine.
Okay.
But they're all fixed now. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for fixing
I
everything.
said, yay, a little intro.
All right. Mr. Moore.
Are you ready?
I think so. Welcome to all our new Handmade Alpha Academy students, by the way. HAA is now closed. New students, if you've joined the program, let us know how you're enjoying it so far in the chat. We love hearing how you guys are going through. Oh, I had everything up.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, well, then it's right there.
Oh, okay. This one? No.
Stop.
Which tab is it? Where'd you put it? Where'd you put my stuff? Oh, there it is.
I already had one open. You just minimized the one I opened for you. So you look at this. She blames me for stuff.
Well, because he breaks everything.
She blames me for stuff.
Because he breaks everything. Who else has husbands that break everything?
Let me
maybe make it a little.
I'm gonna fix the chat so I can see it.
Okay.
There we go, and then make it a little bigger.
Oh.
That's not what.
HAA has been amazing so far.
There we go.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, screen share. And there we are. Look at that. We're on the screen.
So if you guys haven't stopped by Michael's yet, for those in the US, Michael's has a bunch of stuff. I'm actually really enjoying the Halloween trends this year. So keeping in mind that the trends that we're going to be covering today, we're not just looking at the objects. What we want to look at are the colors, the themes, and ways that you can replicate these themes and colors and palettes into your own product lines. For POD, for example, if we notice that, one particular type of image is super duper trendy, maybe you want to make some t-shirts with that. And I noticed on eRank that Halloween is already one of the most searched terms on Etsy. And if you type in the word Halloween, it will show that it has been there's a trend alert notice, and it'll say that this term has been highly searched over the last week. That's been going on now for several weeks. So on July 1st, we'll get our June set of data in, and I'm sure that we'll see a nice big spike in those searches.
Thank you for all the HAA love, guys.
Aw, we appreciate you guys. Let's see. So the first thing that I want to take a peek at are this collection in particular. You guys might remember last year that a lot of products for Halloween were leaning more into pastels and pinks and cute. This year they seem to be going all in. So we've got pastel goth meets 90s grunge. There's definitely a lot of 90s themed references in here. We'll go ahead and open this one in a new tab, which obviously, 90s and Y2K, it's all been very popular. But one of the main things that I've noticed are different flocked, the fuzzy, velvety things.
Is that what it's called? Flocked?
Yeah. Disco ball themed stuff, which last year it was also popular, but now, last year it was just mostly pumpkins. This year I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. There's lots of, kitties, and ghosts doing anything you can think of. Little ghosts, cute little ghosts in all kinds of little poses and dressed up. Now, I will say that the ghost trend, it maintained all year last year. Obviously, Halloween, you're going to get more searches for ghost related products. But I noticed this year, even Hot Topic had a collection of little summer ghost skirts and things like that. So just keeping your eyes out when you're out shopping, you'll tend to notice things that become trends. It's just you have to keep your eyes open and really take note of those repetitive themes that you see over and over again.
Bruce said my daughter and I were at Michael's yesterday. No shortage of pastel items for Halloween.
Yeah, this year I think that pastel is going to be the thing. Pinks.
I'm here for it.
Purples, greens. So the main things here, obviously we've got the pink as an overarching theme. But notice all of these products also have cats. Now, obviously black cats are always trendy. But I feel like, this isn't a black cat. This is a pink cat. So Halloween this year, I'm noticing a lot of cats. And again, the cute little ghosts doing different things. Let's see. We've got a VHS tape. So, kind of leaning into the 90s trends. More of those cute little ghosts. Ghost on the phone. Ghosts taking a selfie. Is this a little flocked ghost? Ghosts with bows. Let's see. More of the cute little kitties. There's the disco ball texture. Skeletons in different poses as well. I don't know what's up with all the skeletons on the toilet. There's also one of... They did like a bunch of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde products, but they've got like Mr. Hyde on the toilet. Edgar Allan Poe on the toilet.
I don't know. I
think it's to decorate your bathroom.
Well, of course.
Yeah, it's just very strange. Disco ball ghost. But notice the color palettes. There is a little bit of black, but it's mostly pink and purple. Little ghosts walking dogs. Little dogs in fall outfits, not just Halloween costumes, but like beanies and scarves. That's another one that I'm noticing, especially if we talk about like places like Hobby Lobby, who they don't do Halloween. I'm noticing a lot of like watercolor paintings of dogs in cute little outfits. Now, the reason that I like this trend in particular is because it helps us to predict what winter's going to look like. I can almost guarantee that come winter, it's going to be dogs in little scarves and, winter hats and things. So just keep that in mind if it aligns with your niche. Little dogs in outfits. Again, we've got the little ghosts, little skeletons doing cute things. It's all little ghosts and skeletons doing cute things. I would make cute t-shirts.
Yeah, Fatty Pancake said it's mostly pink, black, white, and sparkly.
Yeah.
It'll hit for some people, but not for me. I'm a spooky Halloween guy.
Yeah, he likes real...
I like the pastel stuff if you're doing a theme, but I'm a spooky Halloween guy. I don't want all the bright, colorful stuff.
If your whole house was like done in this, it would be cute.
Oh yeah, cute, sure. But it would feel more like a goth girl's bedroom than a Halloween set.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, you know what? I see this stuff as being popular all year round.
Yeah.
For like he said, like a maybe you have like a gothy teenager who still wants the girly stuff, but my mom is the goth adult who buys the Halloween stuff for her whole house year round, and she doesn't like all the pink stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen all the Summerween trends. TJ Maxx and Home Goods have really been hitting these like summerween parties hard. They've got blankets and things with little skeletons and pool floaties. Unfortunately, that trend, it's a little late to get in on it. I think that if you were to roll it out immediately, or if you were POD, you might have some luck with it, because I think that people are going to start, that transition in between Halloween and summer. People are going to start decorating maybe July, August, and then into September we'll lean more heavily into Halloween. But you would have to be pretty speedy, because you want to make sure that you're listing products 4 months ahead. Usually if the craft stores already have their products listed, it means it's a little too late. Yeah, more of the kitties. Lots of the same. The black, the white, and the pink. Okay, I think we've gotten a pretty good idea here. Oh, that's another one that I did want to point out. The little kitty and bat skeletons. Again, one that we kind of see every year, but this year they're very cute. And I'm noticing little animal skeletons everywhere. Look, there's little kitties, skeletons with bows. Another little kitty skeleton. Skulls with bows. And little cowboy ghosts. I saw little cowboy skeletons and little cowboy ghosts. We noticed that Michael's had what was their whole collection that they did over the summer? It was like something cowgirl, Vegas cowgirl or something like that. And now the Halloween products, they're rolling out little cowboy and cowgirl ghosts. So I mean, I'm sure it's appealing to a very niche audience, but if it fits your niche, maybe you already create like Southwestern themed products. Hey, you could stay on trend and still stay true to your brand. All right, I think we've got a good idea. Kitty skeleton. So just cute, kind of girly skeletons and ghosts doing cute things. Okay. I like the little weenie dog.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and we will go into their next collection. This is the one that I liked. Eerily romantic collection features enchanting tabletop decor, iridescent skeleton art, and more unique finds. So what I really liked about this one in particular was it plays on a couple of the trends that we've had over the last few years. Kind of going into like the palmistry and like the witch's cottage type decor. Think like the door knockers and things like that. Again, we've got lots of cats this year, lots of cats and lots of ravens, but we also have some elements of cottagecore. I've been noticing a lot of mushrooms and things with moss growing on them, almost like a skull that's been sitting out in the forest for a few years. Bride and groom skeletons have been trending for the last 3 years. Not something that I see going away anytime soon. Now, I am noticing a lot of these prints that have this kind of faded, eerie, misty look. And you'll see a couple more of those as we start scrolling down. But there's a lot that you could do with these prints. I'm also seeing these frames like this. These old kind of vintage frames.
Victorian.
And a few years ago, maybe it was like, I think 2 years ago, just the frames in the summer were trending from where people would do their own like gallery walls. Those of you selling in vintage niches, I would keep an eye out when you're, looking for vintage finds, just trying to find the frames. You don't have to even put a picture in them, but these frames are hot right now.
A couple of years ago, we had that goth girl summer thing that made this kind of stuff really blow up. I absolutely love the ghost with the kitty cat.
Yeah, more kitties. It's almost like, I don't know, kind of like a haunted mansion type vibe. Lots of cats and crows. Halloween bathroom decor. I think that there's a whole like, I don't know, there's like a whole collection potential here if the right seller, were to create a whole line of like products to decorate your bathroom for Halloween. Yeah, the bathroom open. Oh, the bat room. The bat room open 24 hours. The snail with the kind of moss going on him. Skeleton couple reading and drinking a coffee.
Yep.
Is that us?
No, it's the other way around usually.
Oh, you're right. More black cats. We have that skull, that dragon skull.
Mm-hmm.
Bats, cats.
It's right over there.
Not as many dragons this year, sadly. I was really excited because last year it was all dragons.
Dragons aren't a Halloween thing.
I know, but it was more like fantasy Halloween was popular last year. Again, like little skeletons doing everyday things. Skeletons doing everyday things. I really like this one. It's a skeleton lady eating some ramen.
Okay. They should have had some falling out of her chest cavity there as she was eating it.
It's just she's eating it and it's just perpetually falling out.
Maybe going back into the bowl.
Skeleton holding a Labrador puppy.
Noodle loop.
Again, cats and crows, these old kind of like faded designs. You could have a lot of fun with those on different products. Door knockers. More cats and crows. Skeleton playing pickleball. Think about your oddly specific niche that your brand is catered around, and how could you incorporate ghosts and skeletons doing whatever it is that you advertise? Maybe they're using sewing machines. Maybe they're, I don't know, walking a dog.
The hourglass is actually pretty cool.
With the little skulls in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute. Playing the drums. And guitar.
Excuse me.
This is that iridescent that it originally, was talking about. Again, a skeleton with a dog. The dog isn't a skeleton, just the
psychedelic iridescence on Spooky is strange. It's cool.
It's this like dark blue. Lots of skeleton couples, too. They were popular last year. I think we covered them in our trend report last year.
Woodnook Creations said, you critiqued my shop last week and I made all the changes you suggested. I've had the best week of sales ever. Seriously, thank you.
Wow, really? That's
amazing.
That is absolutely awesome.
We're happy for your success.
And hey, as you build momentum, because your listing quality scores will continue growing through those sales, you'll start ranking better and better and better. And we're about to see around August is when we'll start seeing the seasonal shoppers come in. So, we've got July is going to be pretty slow. August will be relatively slow, but September, October, and November are the busiest seasons. So hopefully you maintain that momentum.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we will go to the next category. I think we got some good ideas there. But yeah, I kind of like this aesthetic, the iridescent. It's cool. Kind of has an AI vibe though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And
I hope they're not. For Michaels.
It's a corporation, dude. If they can save money, they save money.
I don't.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, they will.
That's what I'm saying. Like if AI is, and it's really good now, I can't prove it. I'm not going to make accusations, but.
Dead Regency. I really like this one. And this is great for vintage sellers. You could do a whole curation of colored glass, for example. I'm a sucker for colored glass. I love colored glass. Antique style glassware, ornate tabletop decor, haunting wall art, and more. Did these tabs...
I like that like Victorian steampunk smoke room aesthetic.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Ambers and dark deep blues and
yeah, like a cigar lounge.
Yeah, like velvet greens, like you say.
Tiffany lamps. That's very interesting. That Tiffany lamps are included in here. So let's see. We've got some bust like statues. Again, Jekyll and Hyde. Interesting. And these are public domain. So because let's see, how many years is public domain?
I don't remember off the top of my head. 70 or 80.
90. I think it's 90
they increased it, didn't they?
I think it's 90. But yeah. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I know, are in public domain. I really like these signs. They look like, those historical site signs. There's also some library signs a little later on. I really love these. I think that they're really cool. But everything kind of has a weathered vintage aesthetic. Let's see. Edgar Allan Poe. There's those distressed. Oh, they're literacy genre signs. I love these. Oh, I've got to get the romance ones. These are great. I need some of these.
Those are cool. We should sit and watch the Halloween Looney Tunes with Taylor this year. You said Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and it made me remember the
big red guy.
The Thing, at least the Thing episode with the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde theme. That was like my favorite episode. I had it on VHS.
Edgar Allan Poe again, another library sign. These would be cool year round. I know all of my bookish girlies are probably looking at these like, yeah, this needs to. I really like this this pillow too. So lots of purple and black. It's an entire aesthetic though. I could imagine an entire room decorated in these objects.
Gossamer is his name, sorry.
Let's see. This is Frankenstein's monster, not Frankenstein. But Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, the original film, entered the public domain in January of 2025. So as long as you're using original depictions, you can now do Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein.
That tea light holder is actually pretty fire too.
Snakes. Yeah, last year snakes were actually covered in our Halloween trend report. I'm noticing less snakes this year. There's still a couple. My Tuesday video, I'm not including snakes though, because we covered them the last 2 years and I noticed less and less of those. These are really cool. I really like a lot of these items. Again, Edgar Allan Poe. So for those of you that are in bookish niches, I mean, you don't need to get licensing for Poe. You don't need to get licensing for any of Poe's works. You don't need to get licensing for original depictions of Frankenstein's monster and Bride of Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You can have a lot of fun with these. Look at this siren.
Works published in the U.S. before 1929 will be public domain January 1st, 2025.
Got it.
Books, movies, musical scores, and published materials.
Oh, Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. I'm noticing those, but spooky. These are really fun.
Also, remember, when it comes to public domain stuff, it only includes the stuff that was from that time period, not new depictions.
Right.
Like how Steamboat Willie is not Mickey Mouse. He's Steamboat Willie.
And there's a whole Alice in Wonderland collection. I know we've got a couple of sellers who do Alice in Wonderland, so they have to be the original works, not the Disney versions, but I'm so excited to show you guys that collection. I actually love this, the spooky Little Red Riding Hood. Arched mirrors, Gothic arched mirrors.
I can't do the texture of the changing pictures.
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Even seeing it sets my cringe off.
Hansel and Gretel. There's another one. That is terrifying.
The witch is awful.
Can I get this for the kitchen?
No, it's terrible.
I like it. Someone get this for their grandma. I could see this being in grandma's house, scaring all the children with it. Big Bad Wolf. On the toilet?
Sure.
Let's see. Let's go with the mask.
You get the haunted ballroom, and then you put that next to the bathroom door.
Yeah. Okay. Another Edgar Allan Poe quote.
Why is he naked behind there?
Is he? Oh, we can't show that.
Lewd.
We can't show that on the bean.
Absolutely lewd.
Hansel and Gretel. Frankie. Good old Frankie.
Owl movement. Uh-huh. Mr. Hyde.
On the toilet.
On the toilet. Taking a demon of a dump.
All right. What do you think? You think we have a good idea now of what's trending in this category?
Yeah, going a little further.
We have this
into the goofy.
Ours is white, but
the Victorian theme is starting to dominate again this year. I'm noticing.
Colored glass. These are so pretty. Somebody in the comments had said that they have a ton of colored glass. I love colored glass. We're waiting until we get a bigger house to like buy more decor. Our house is like. Mark gets mad when I say this, but it is like the size of a double wide trailer with a basement. Like,
no, it's not. It's so much bigger than that. You didn't spend a lot of time in trailers as a teenager.
It's so tiny. Our house is so small. AJA students.
Our house is like 2,000 square feet.
You're counting the garage.
Okay, 1,800 square feet. Excuse me.
Our kitchen, we can't both fit in it.
Listen to this entitled woman.
We don't both fit in the kitchen.
Oh.
Only one person can fit in the kitchen at a time. All right, Alice
in
Wonderland. Again, you have to steer clear of Disney's depictions.
Yes.
But there's a lot of trends that are kind of sprinkled in here that they fit when you see them all together in like these curations, but on their own, they could be their own trends. For example, the skeletal flamingos. I will say that black flamingos, just because I see a lot of the posts from the sleep token community this year, the black flamingos are super popular. Now, obviously you can't use any keywords related to sleep token, but I know a lot of people are searching for gothy black flamingo themed jewelry and stuff to wear to sleep token shows.
Good luck getting tickets to a sleep token show.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna lose a few subscribers here. The new album was mid.
It was all right.
I'm a hardcore Sleep Token fan. That new album was mid.
It was all right. There were a couple songs on it. I like Dangerous. That's pretty much the only one I really loved. Again, more products that they're interesting, but they don't necessarily have to be Alice in Wonderland. Lots of roses. I'm noticing playing cards this year. And chess pieces. So they fit the Alice in Wonderland, but I could see,
multi-theme.
Right, someone buying these for their den.
Yeah.
A game room.
All right, somebody agrees with me.
Lots of like kind of wonky shapes and things. Wonky, like this. These are kind of topsy-turvy candle holders. Some cool prints. You can do like the original Drink Me bottles. Just make sure they don't look like Disney's. Melting clocks.
Are playing cards public domain?
I believe so. I believe that you can do, because there's so many different versions of them. I don't
look that up, because the original card design is from like the 1800s.
Why don't you look it up? Look it up. Let's see. Chess pieces, I'm assuming that they are. Skeleton flamingos. This could be fun for anything. You could do, if you could find some, some ways to do prints. You could even try to find some skeleton or black flamingo jewelry. Let's see. What'd you find?
I'm still waiting on it to load.
Carnivorous plants. Again, this isn't Alice in Wonderland specific. You could do, could think of like Little Shop of Horrors. Obviously, you can't use those keywords, but carnivorous plants, Venus flytraps, things like that, they don't necessarily fall directly into Alice in Wonderland. You could do a lot with carnivorous plants.
Okay, so for playing cards, the standard French suited playing cards with the 52 deck, hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades, with aces, 2 10s, jacks, queen, kings. Traditional court cards like Jack, Queen, King used in early English and French decks, the older standard arrangements and poses for court figures, especially those from the 17th to the 19th centuries. The pip and index layout, the Tarot de Marseille. However, the bicycle bee and tally-ho designs, the like kings and queens and stuff, those are all copyright. You can't use those.
Okay.
Basically, it says to use standard deck artwork from pre-1920. Digitized patterns, you can get them from the British Museum or the Library of Congress. As long as they're pre-1920, they should be open domain. You can actually check with the International Playing Card Society in order to verify that information. It is kind of difficult, so make sure you know what you're doing, because a lot of the designs are. But the traditional, like the poses that they do and stuff, those are open domain, because those have been on cards since like the 1700s.
Okay, interesting.
At least according to this. That could be wrong.
Yeah, do your research. Don't take anything that we're saying as fact. Make sure that you peek into it a little bit.
I'm not huge on the playing card aesthetic, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
The black and white stripes with the red, it's okay.
Little mushrooms, again, not Alice in Wonderland specific, not Halloween specific either. Okay, I think we've got a good idea here.
Oh, heck.
What, him?
Yes.
He's a very special little guy.
He is a very special little guy.
I like these.
That's creepy.
I like them.
I'm gonna like put it on my kid's desk when she's asleep. So when she wakes up, she sees it.
Okay, so that is what we have from Michaels. They are slowly but surely starting to sprinkle things in. Now, obviously, they have their traditional. I didn't immediately pop into this one just because this is more of to be expected when it comes to Halloween. Cute little ghosts, but very heavy on the ghosts this year compared to past years. And kind of minimalist, just almost like the old school throw a sheet over top of your kid and cut some holes for the eyes. Ta-da, there's your costume. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Little ghost puppies, ghosts again doing everyday things. I really like this one holding a little coffee. Last year we talked about ghost coffee bars and coffee nooks. So just, your whole coffee bar done in white with little white ghosts and white mugs. I'm seeing that a lot with the farmhouse kind of coffee bars. Balloon animals have been really popular over the last few months. I saw some really colorful ones for summer. I don't know why, but kind of cute. More traditional kind of Halloween things. Kitties and puppies in little costumes. Those are cute. But I wanted to cover this section last just because, yeah, little doggies in Halloween costumes, old school nutcrackers. Again,
scrolling through here, just
Halloween
seeing
coffee.
numerous things that your mother owns.
I know.
Just things that are just in her house all year.
Her house is just skulls all year. That's her whole kitty in a mermaid costume.
And that's kind of crazy because when I met you, your house it was your room that was done up like that. Your house wasn't really done up like that.
It was done in cherubs. It was done.
It was completely the opposite.
And baby dolls.
She's like, oh man, my daughter left and now I need all this creepy stuff. She was right.
No, my mom wanted to have another baby and wasn't able to, so her house was done in babies. It was a very mom in her 30s thing to do, I think. Puppies.
Okay.
I think so. Very middle-aged mom thing to do. Okay. 30s to 40s, wanting to have a baby, can't, decorates the house in baby dolls. There's at least one of you in the chat right now. You type guilty if it's you, if your house is done in babies and baby dolls.
It's crazy to think that you're almost as old as your mom was when we got together, isn't it?
Don't say that. Don't say that. What's really funny is when I decide that I'm going to mess with Anthony Wolf, I'm like, you're the same age as my mom. That never fails to make him mad. Cute little frogs. Have you noticed a lot of frogs? There have been a lot. I didn't take note, but now I'm starting to see
frogs are like the only goofy thing that is Halloween, bro.
For those who are doing the little dogs in costumes, I'm noticing a trend. Black labs and weenie dogs. Specifically, I'm starting to notice that it's mostly black labs and weenie dogs. Okay, let's go ahead and we will move on to the next one. Hobby Lobby is going to lean more into Thanksgiving and general fall decor. Unfortunately, their sections are not as good as Michael's are. I hate that they don't curate their sections. They do it more based on what the product is. But we will go into throw pillows because the patterns on the throw pillows you can usually use for other areas and other themes. So obviously we have the fall plaids, the color palettes. We've got kind of that dark sage green. We can see the home here, how it's decorated. The colors are leaning more into terracottas, a little bit of white and off-white. The pillows are very textured. That's been trending over the last 3 years, kind of leaning into that 70s mismatched pillow aesthetic. But if we scroll down here, Highland cows this year for fall, especially like November, they are everywhere. Mm-hmm. Highland cows in little outfits, Highland cows, watercolor Highland cows, sassy Highland cows on t-shirts. This could be for those of you who are leaning more into the farmhouse decor. I would consider throwing in some of the Highland cows. Again, look at the palettes and the colors that are trending. It's not like a bright orange. It's more of a terracotta with some beiges and browns. Got some fall geese and chickens. I wonder if that will be a consistent theme. All the pumpkins and pumpkin spice. These are all.
Bruce said you can't get a lot of ideas from Hobby Lobby unless you check out stores, and they're big into fall already.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be getting into Christmas in the next couple of weeks.
If they haven't already.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Highland Cows, let's go into, we'll try fall decor, fall kitchen, and we'll try, will this whole section, no, this will just open up everything fall that they have. We'll take a quick peek. These little trees, the little Christmas trees, the ceramic Christmas trees, these are big in every holiday now. Okay, so again, look, little puppies. We'll go ahead and open this up so they can see it a little better. Look, little puppies, little
puppies.
I don't know what it is about the puppies this year, but the puppies are really, really big. So, and I know that we have a lot of you that are
small.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Moore. Cute little woodland forest creatures, raccoons, squirrels. We have this hedgehog pumpkin. Little foxes. Little trucks. This is just so hot. All the Hobby Lobby things. The little white ceramic houses. We have a couple alphas who do clay work and ceramics.
Yeah, those are kind of popular.
Who make the little white ceramic houses. Mark and I have a whole set of these for Christmas that we put out. These just plain white ceramic houses.
Hedgehog.
Cute little hedgehog. Yeah, this is all very, very typical.
We almost got a hedgehog.
Yeah, we got Sugar Bear instead. And gnomes. Gnomes in the fall. Gnomes are very, very popular. All right. Let's see the tableware. This is a pretty curation right here. This aesthetic. This would be like going to Thanksgiving at like rich grandma's house.
And then you sit one of the kids at the table and they get food all over the fake garland thing and you gotta throw the whole thing away.
You're a cynic.
I'm a realist.
The colored glass.
Yep, right there.
Yeah, we love stuff like this. Sunflowers, as we transition from summer into fall, sunflowers are kind of an in-between, gaining popularity August and September because you're not quite ready to get out your pumpkins yet, but you still want to start leaning into fall palettes. So sunflowers are a great way to kind of create balance in between summer and fall. Yeah, I mean, it's all the same palettes. Not really seeing anything that stands out aside from the colored glass. There's the puppies, though. Puppies in little outfits with pumpkins and things. Those of you who do puppies, I mean, you could do any type of style, but puppies in outfits. You could probably do kitties in outfits, too. If somebody wants puppies in outfits, they probably want kitties in outfits as well. Okay, we will go ahead and move on to what was the last one here? Fall table decor. Little trucks, look, puppy with sunglasses or regular glasses and a pumpkin.
The online video games I play are already doing sunflower themed items. Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to kind of lean. Daisies in early summer, and then I really like this.
I like the mushrooms.
Little mushrooms. Okay, more puppies. So I think we got everything we need. Cows and puppies. Okay, I was going to read through some of this. I might just put it in the chat. This was a really interesting set of Halloween shopping statistics. U.S. consumers are expected to spend $3.5 billion on trick-or-treat candy on Halloween 2024. I thought this was 2025. Why does it say 2024? Is that a typo? On average, Americans plan to spend $32 on candy and close to $34 on both decorations and costumes. So that's just average spending. Really? Only $32 on candy for Halloween?
Dude, have you looked at our kids' candy the last few times she's gone shopping? Everybody buys their candy at Dollar Tree.
That's true.
They buy like
but
$2-3 bags of candy, and that's all they give.
Man, we bring like $50 worth of candy to your mom's house, and she ends up passing all of it out.
Y'all, if you got kids in your neighborhood, please buy candy.
Put a bowl out on the porch.
It is so pathetically sad when we take I haven't even wanted to take our kid out the last few years because it's like 1 out of every 10 houses actually gives out candy.
Hey,
it's so sad.
Maybe people don't have money. Like, I
get it. You got $1. Go to Dollar Tree.
Around 70% of Americans plan to participate in Halloween celebrations in 2024. Why does it say 2025 trends and this is 2024? About 30% of U.S. consumers start their Halloween shopping in September. Over a third of Americans search for Halloween ideas online, 37%. That's a pretty big chunk. Discount stores are the most popular choice for Halloween purchases. In the US, 37%. I think for some things. 32% of Gen Z shoppers turn to TikTok for Halloween costume inspiration. Those of you creating costume items, that's huge. That could be cosplay. That might not just be Halloween. That could be, for cons and things. U.S. consumers are expected to spend $11.7 billion on Halloween in 2024. Why again? It's 2024 report. About 31% of Americans plan to decorate their homes or yards for Halloween. That's a pretty decent percentage. Around 1/3 of U.S. adults found Halloween costume inspiration on Instagram. Wow. So Instagram and TikTok. The Luigi outfit from Mario Brothers was the bestseller in the costume category for Halloween because the Mario movie came out last year, right?
Yeah.
Consumers prefer budget-friendly Halloween celebrations to save money in 2024. So those of you maybe doing like Halloween party favors, maybe creating bundles. People tend to go for product-specific searches when shopping online. Of course, we know that. Don't use, super broad keywords. This is, long tail keywords are always going to get you one step closer to shopper.
Yeah, this data is for 2024, not 2025.
I don't know why it was labeled as 2025.
Because they copied and pasted it and didn't change anything. It's probably the same one from last year.
Halloween makeup is a growing trend in the holiday season for 2024. These will probably still be relevant.
It's lazy editing.
Group and couple costumes are the most popular choice for Halloween shopping in 2024. Couple shirts for POD folks trying to do like bundles of couple shirts. There's a growing demand for spooky social media content. Fun. Pet costumes are booming in popularity for Halloween. And we just saw all the other the craft stores and things having all their decor themed around puppies and costumes. Gothic and dark aesthetics are gaining popularity. Hey, we just saw that is definitely the case. Healthy treats are becoming a popular choice for Halloween. Boo. Give me the Reese cup.
You know what? Some people like the healthy treats.
Some raisins.
Somebody said, well, they be taking the dyes out of the candy. I mean, of all the things in candy, the dye is probably the least dangerous. And the artificial colors and flavors.
All right, so we'll do just a very quick scroll. This was an actual... Woo! How'd I do that? This was an actual Halloween...
Screwed it up.
Halloween trend. So none of us are making life-size animated props. However, again, classic horror icons, these are ones that you're not going to be able to do in your shops because obviously copyright infringement, stay away from, Michael Myers and Jason and yada yada. But we did see that the public domain figures like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Edgar Allan Poe, those might be in line with the classic horror icons. Glowing UV reactive decorations. So think, not just neon signs, but things that have the potential to glow in the dark. Even those of you who create jewelry and things that glow.
Oh, excuse me.
Haunted house ready decor. So, things that people can use in their haunted houses. Not sure if any of you do, props. We do have an alpha that does really cool gory prosthetics and things like, that you can stick on your face to make it look like you've got bloody stitches and stuff. Okay, retro and nostalgic Halloween, vintage inspired decorations, classic paper cutouts, blow mold figures. Guys, blow mold figures go for so much money. If for those of you in the vintage category, do not pass up on an old school blow mold figure. They sell for so much money. I bought a blow mold pumpkin for my window. It was the same one that I had, growing up as a kid. And I went to Etsy to find one because I wanted the one that I had when I was a kid. let's see, retro style animatronics. Okay, so think 1950s style witches, black cats, and jack-o'-lanterns. That's, again, kind of what we saw at Michael's. Interactive and DIY-friendly decorations. Unique custom setups, DIY-friendly props, customizable decorations. Hey, customizable decorations. Let's see. Paintable Halloween props. So that people can personalize. And then outdoor horror displays. This is a big one. Kind of hard unless you're making large items, though. I do know that some of you who do woodworking. No. What are you looking for? Tissue? This is really big in the US. This is actually a UK blog. I wasn't under the impression that you guys in the UK decorate to this extreme like we do, but I mean, there are, you know how you drive around Christmas time to find the neighborhoods with the good Christmas decorations? I don't know how it is across the US, but at least in Ohio, there are whole towns that do up for Halloween. Fairborn, Ohio, we go there every year just to look at the Halloween displays. All right, and the last one that I wanted to show you, this is a really great curation that someone made on Pinterest. That just kind of shows some combinations. So traditional, I think that this is a fantastic representation of kind of those traditional, not too spooky. I dare say that the decor fits that kind of middle-class mom, upper middle-class mom who shops at Pottery Barn, is willing to spend a little bit more money to make her house look awesome. You can see a lot of products that could easily be sold on Etsy. In fact, look, there's an Etsy listing right here. These little ghost and pumpkin candles. I see a lot of wooden signs, things that aren't overly colorful, but they fit a bit of that fun farmhouse aesthetic. Can I make these bigger for you guys? Yeah, there we go. Is that better? Blow mold pumpkin. Okay, we'll go into the next one, which is mushrooms. We already noticed that these were trending, different mushrooms, velvet mushrooms. We can see the different colors of the mushrooms, kind of darker palettes, gothier. Some of them are Halloween-y colored, but a lot of them could be left out all year round. Okay, ghosts. Again, we talked about this trend, just kind of plain, minimalist, not too over-the-top ghosts, not a lot of colors. But I actually really love the minimalist ghosts. Disco, talked about this one a little bit. Disco balls, that disco ball pattern paired with some of the pink. This kind of goes into that fun, girly, cutesy Halloween decor. I could see these being really cool when the light hits them, like when your spooky orange Halloween lights hit them. Lots of that pink and girly glam aesthetic. And lastly, we have dark academia. Again, all trends that we have kind of verified through what's trending in stores. This is more of those, like a dark study or a dark office. Things that aren't necessarily Halloween on their own, but when combined with other elements, they make up a full picture.
Spooky.
I love this so much. And you'll notice that it's very cluttered, but artistically cluttered, I guess is the only way to describe it.
Well, yeah, that's how you get that Victorian goth look.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. A lot of this is AI, though.
Yeah, it is. But lots of trinkets and things and little bits and bobs and oddities and florals and candlesticks. I see a lot of fun stuff that could be incorporated into the, the vintage sellers. Things that I commonly see at thrift stores that they need the right setting. You see it in a thrift store and you think, oh, this is something that would have been at, great grandma's house. But then when you think about it in a context like this, it makes a lot more sense. So guys, these are our early trends. Hopefully you found this helpful. I really like the trends this year. Not so much on the pink, but I can appreciate it if it found its way into the right home. I'm not appalled by it. It's just not for me. I personally really love the idea of these. You can go ahead and stop sharing.
Yeah.
I really love the public domain figures, you know, the old stories, the dark literary aesthetic, being able to incorporate things like Edgar Allan Poe and collective works. You know, you could do things themed around the Raven. We noticed a lot of ravens trending. I just think that there's a lot of potential this year for a lot of different people, especially with the ghosts and the skeletons doing sports and, you know, little cowboy ghosts. Like, no matter what your niche is, you could probably find a way to incorporate in those Halloween designs. And who knows, maybe Christmas time, maybe it'll be Santa Claus, you know, playing pickleball. But guys, if you have any questions, feel free to get those in the chat. We've still got about 30 minutes, and
They don't have to be relevant to the topic at hand. They could be about anything.
yeah, did we have any good
Nope.
any
No questions.
give a thumbs up to the video? We appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. When do you guys usually decorate for Halloween? I decorate September 1st every year. No matter what, even if the whole neighborhood thinks I'm crazy, because my thought is that's September and October that the house is decorated. Most people, when they decorate for Christmas, they decorate November to December. So why can't I have Halloween September and October? Now, I decorate for Thanksgiving because we're in the US, so I don't get to put up my Christmas decorations until after Thanksgiving. Usually Thanksgiving night, I take down all the Thanksgiving stuff and I get all excited and put up the Halloween.
Did you guys see the Bath and Body Works Halloween leak? It's all pastel. Yes.
I did. I actually, you know what? I'll pull it up. I have some of it. I don't have all of it. If I'm able to pull it up. I might not be able to because I think...
Yep, September 1st. The thing is, September's really busy for us anyway. We have the boot camp. We have our music. We go to Lost Lands Music Festival every year. That takes 4 days out of the month. 2 weeks, really, when it comes to recovering after getting sick being around all those people.
Do you have to log in to look at this stuff?
Yeah. It'll make you log in.
Aw, darn. Well, yeah. I'll cover the Bath and Body Works trends in the video for Tuesday. I don't want to log into Facebook because my messenger will pop up and... Anyway, but yeah, what I noticed from Bath and Body Works and a couple other retailers that I didn't cover today, but I will be covering in the Tuesday video, are Halloween sweets. So cakes, cupcakes. It seems like Bath and Body Works is leaning more into pastries and things like that this year, which I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Did you guys notice that I ended up snagging the super duper trendy Year of the Dragon Starbucks cup last year? The resellers on all the resale sites are selling this mug for like ridiculous amounts of money, and we just happened to find one in stores because you guys know I love dragons.
How many HAA members did you get this time around? A lot more than last time.
Yes, a lot more than last time.
A lot more than last time. I think the uncertainty about the economy is starting to wear down, and people are a little less afraid and a little more optimistic to get their businesses rolling. So
yeah, I know that things were scary in December, and December launch was definitely one of our worst ones, but we knew that it wasn't anything that we did. We knew that it was just the state of the economy.
That's every election cycle. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the businesses are just dreading, unless you're in an industry that isn't affected by it. But
what I will say this time around, I'm really not that I don't enjoy students every enrollment cycle, but I'm noticing that the students who have enrolled this time around, everyone is like getting to work.
Active. They're very active.
And I love that. Whereas in December, it's always a little quieter because a lot of people will join in December and then they'll start, you know, in like January when things quiet down. I love seeing people get to work now. And, you know, if you haven't gotten to work, I'm not saying like, you know, I'm not trying to get you to work faster, but I love seeing so many of you get to work now because right now is the perfect time to start working on your shop. It's Etsy's quiet season. But starting in, like I said, August, September, and November, that's when things start to pick up. November is Etsy's busiest month. So if you guys put in a lot of time, now, and then obviously we have the boot camp coming up as well, that's going to help. But if you put in all this time and, everybody in HAA gets the boot camp, you're going to have better results for the holiday season. So, yeah. What we got?
We don't decorate for Halloween, just fall. I do September 1st. Finding things to make for Halloween with sea glass jewelry is challenging.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that.
But you don't have to take advantage of every trend. Could you... Is there any, could you just do fall palettes with your sea glass? Maybe just trying to focus on, the oranges. And I'm assuming that there's orange and yellow and brown sea glass, right? Yeah.
Probably. We still have no questions, though. There's 300 of you here. I know somebody's got a question.
Sure, guys. Ask us anything.
We'll have to cut it if we don't get any.
There is a slight announcement I wanted to make for eRank. I don't know how many of you joined Q&A yesterday, but Anthony Wolf announced that your guys' badge, the little badge where it says what % of shops you're in, we did have a bug with that badge, and our team took it down the night before last because they're fixing it. So if you see that the badges are gone, I don't know if they were able to get them done last night, but there was just a slight bug. And they were working on that. So those should be coming back soon. So if you see that the badges aren't there, don't panic. We're just working on something and we're going to bring them right back. In fact, Anthony actually teased that we're potentially going to be adding like more badges and things.
If I have to start seeing Christmas stuff in October in stores and they take Halloween away from me early, I'm going to rebel and demand Halloween movies earlier too. Where did we just go that already had Christmas stuff out? Where was it? We just went somewhere and they already were starting to put Christmas stuff out.
Wasn't Hobby Lobby because we don't really go there. I don't know.
I don't remember. One of our local stores already is putting their Christmas stuff out and putting their Halloween stuff away, and it's not even July yet.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to look at it. The thing is, what I hate is that you got to buy this stuff and then you just got to put it away until Halloween comes around. I don't know. Ice cream. Yes, the Halloween ice cream. Ice cream. I actually have a little ceramic. It's a ice cream shop with a candle, holder in the back. I bought it for my hermit crabs when I had hermit crabs so they could crawl into it.
Is November the busiest month?
Yes, for most industries.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the busier.
Universally on Etsy, yes. It is indisputable that
September, October, November is probably the busy season leading up until Christmas. And then you probably get some people that get a lot like beginning of December, but you're starting to get really close to that shipping deadline where you can't really get stuff to people on time. Especially if we end up having a snowy year in the United States, then you end up not being able to go. I mean, we had that like 5-6 years ago, just pre-COVID. There was so much bad weather that people weren't getting their packages and there was like an issue with USPS at the same time.
We cut off shipping that year, I think on December 5th. We chose to stop shipping for the holidays. Yeah. We told people they could still place orders, but we just let them know that, we cannot guarantee that your stuff will arrive.
Do you have any advice on Etsy ads putting your shop in the negative? I'm already turning off unrelated keywords. You should not be spending out of your budget. So if you're putting your shop into the negative with ads, then you're spending too much money.
Yeah, they're not a magic solution. No. Only advertise products that are already proven to convert. So make sure that you're only advertising products that are sure to bring you a return on your investment. If they are selling on their own without the ads, that means that your SEO is probably good. You've built up a decent listing quality score for those listings, and you're guaranteed to make a return on your investment because you know that people want this product. Now you're just taking your best product and showing it to as many people as possible. So always advertise the products that are already selling. I cannot stand these YouTubers who tell you to advertise everything. Just that you stretch your budget, advertise everything.
It's a waste of money.
There's nothing scientific about that. That's like
hoping for the best.
Right.
And it'll work for 1 out of every couple hundred people, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance, but it's the same as going and buying as many lottery tickets as possible. Like, yeah, you might win, but you might spend a bunch of money on lottery tickets and not win. So Just spend some time identifying what in your shop is performing well and try to redirect your budget towards those specific items. And like you said, make sure that, you know, you're going through and checking the unrelated keywords. Also, and I believe it was an HA student. If you're here, let me know. They went through their shop's alt text because Etsy automatically started adding alt text, and they had an axolotl theme product, and Etsy automatically added alt text that it was Stitch, like Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
And it was not. And that's insane that Etsy would autofill a copyright character.
Yeah, they're probably third-party sourcing for a search engine, so.
Check your alt text. You can do that by opening up your listings. There should be a little pencil icon on each of your listing photos.
That autofill is new, so it's
they
there's
just
probably
rolled that
some
out.
kinks they've got to work out. So
yeah, but I would definitely go in as soon as possible if you can. Maybe sometime this weekend, just do a quick check of your alt text that Etsy's put in there, just to make sure that they're not putting anything wonky in there. I think a lot of people miss that Etsy started automatically doing it.
Is end of July or early August too late to drop Halloween stuff? No, it's not. It's not, definitely not too late.
I would try to get it out as soon as possible.
Yes.
If you can get it out sooner, that would be ideal. I'm already shopping for Halloween stuff. Like, the crazy Halloween people are already shopping. So you won't entirely miss the boat, but I would definitely try to get it out as quickly as possible, because by August, you're going to want to start thinking about, I mean, I'm assuming you probably don't make as many like Christmassy type products. Well, maybe you do. But you really want to be starting to think about the holiday season around August. So get things out as quickly as possible. That's all I can say.
Might both of us show your tattoos? So mine, I have, it's really hard to get up on camera. I have a Leshy or a Leshen from Witcher 3 with a wolf. I'm hoping to get this extended and get his hand coming down through. And I was going to do some of the other creatures from the Witcher 3, like decapitated down my arm. Thought that would be really cool. And then
really
this one,
sexy.
And this one is her art, actually.
You've got one more too.
It's on the back of my leg, but I can't really show you that.
I traded a bunch of skulls, animal skulls, for these two. I had a tattoo artist.
Tilt your arm a little bit so they can see it. You're looking at it, but they can't see it.
I had a tattoo artist in California, and I collected animal skulls that I found while hiking different skulls and things, and he wanted them for his studio, and I was too afraid to move them from California to Ohio because I figured they'd break. So he did both of these for me. He did my whole arm. But that's a mermaid for my daughter, wolf. He did this wolf, and then this is the band Bayside's logo, their bird. And then his dad did this awful one, and then this awful one is one of my keys from my first shop. We got these from that really janky tattoo shop in Wheatland, Ohio. Yeah. Wheatland, Ohio did that one. Same one that did yours.
To get a Noon Wraith tattoo. I actually considered it. I was going to get the one from the bestiary that's all like nasty with the jaw missing, and I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm going to go ahead and quit, but I really do want to.
How much is the holiday boot camp? Okay, so there are 4 days. There are 4 days. There are 4 days of enrollment for the holiday boot camp. If you're already in HAA, you get it for free. But for those of you who are not in HAA, we do an early enrollment day. Everybody will get an email letting them know it's early enrollment day. On that day only, we steeply discount the program. We actually don't hardly make any money on that day because we also have affiliates. This year, eRank will be our affiliate. Other people who are selling the program and they get a cut. We charge $60 for that day. You get the full program. That will be on a Thursday. Then Friday, we go to normal pricing, which is $100. Friday, the price will be $100. We'll announce it during the bean. Saturday, the price is $100. So that's, $60, $100, $100. And then on the final day, Sunday, we bump the price up to $120. It is kind of like, it's like a penalty for waiting till the last minute, but the $20 extra all goes to St. Jude. Some people purposefully wait until the last day just so the $20 goes to St. Jude. But that's when we are running our annual St. Jude charity. So we just collect those $20 increments and all that goes to St. Jude. We don't know what days the enrollment will be. The enrollment will probably be either late August or early September because we need to do the boot camp in early September this year. We have a music festival in mid-September and we have attempted to do the boot camp right when we get back.
Oh, we can't. There's just no way. We're always sick.
We're always
sick. Deathly ill.
Not to mention you guys have told us that you prefer us do them in early September anyway.
Gives you more time.
Right. So, yeah, we'll let you know when it gets closer to time. If you're not on my email list yet, because I send emails anytime I upload a video, when we're going to go live. I'm done promoting HAA. I had a couple people who are like, you send too many emails. I'm like, look, I only do it twice a year because people always miss it. But we're done with that until December. If you sign up for any of my free resources down below, I would recommend the ebooks because when you sign up for the ebooks, you get all my SEO courses included in that. So you don't have to sign up for them separately. Those are all free. Sign up for one of those free things. You'll end up on my email list. You'll get funneled through and you'll end up on the list where you'll get an email when the boot camp gets opened up.
Any tips for doing personalized merch? Get some money up front. If you're customizing something for someone and you're going to ruin a piece that you can't remake for somebody else and it's just going to become trash, get at least the cost of making the product up front. Always get, so you're reimbursed for your effort at the very least.
It depends. Like, are you talking about POD? If you're doing POD, I mean, there's great services like Hello Custom. I actually met the owner of Hello Custom when I was in Latvia. And he seems like a pretty cool guy. And that allows for POD personalization, like streamlined if you're using a service like Printify. That way when people place their orders, you can automatically customize like their shirt if it's something with their name on it. If it's something that you're creating at home, obviously, like he said, make sure that you are, I would charge the full price up front before personalization. I think that, Nancy, we need a little more. Feel free to get more specific and we can try to help.
Is it possible to have a combination of POD and Ship by Me in one shop?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You totally can. The POD products, when you're setting up, when you're setting up listings for POD, you have the option to select that it is, produced by a third party. And then when you are setting up those listings, they just need to be synced with your print provider on the back end. Right now, I started working on it again last night because I had to put it on pause for HAA, but I've been working on my Shopify as well. I'm building out a Shopify. I've never done Shopify, so I just wanted to,
So POD mugs specifically.
Okay. Yeah. You can totally do that. Oh, you mean the personalized mugs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hello Custom might be a great solution, or you can place, have people place the orders on their own, and then you can go in. If you don't want to sync them with your print provider, you can always go in yourself and edit the file and then manually accept and fulfill each order by customizing them per order. It takes a little longer that way. But if you don't want one more plan like Hello Custom to, if you have the time, you could always just go in and manually submit, put their address in, and ship it direct to them. That's always an option.
Can you please review tracking changes in tags and titles in eRank?
Please review tracking changes.
Yeah, how I read it.
Like the track changes tool? Can you please review track? So you
show how to do it.
Oh. We can maybe do that next week. Do you guys want to do that on the Bean next week? Tracking your listings? Let us know.
What size stickers do you like?
Tiny.
Yeah, usually small. We don't have a lot of places to put them.
Tiny. I'm a planner sticker gal, so I do teeny tiny. I like sheets of small stickers. If it comes to like bigger stickers, I'm usually putting those inside the cover of my planner where the blank pages are, and those I don't really care if they're big or small, but I buy a lot of teeny tiny stickers for my planner.
At home, question mark?
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned the store At Home. At Home has a lot of Halloween products as well, but their website last night when I checked to try to find the trends, they didn't have anything on their site. They're going
out of business, aren't they?
No, they're just filing for bankruptcy. They're not going out of business though. They have a big giant Cerberus statue that I want to go pick up.
It's almost like selling repurposed Chinese things at an exorbitant price isn't a good business model.
That expensive. They are pricier than like home goods. And
if you're charging $50 for something you paid $1.50 for, you're way overcharging. Sorry if this has been. Do you guys think Toil and Shinosuri, I don't know what that even is, will continue to thrive for fall or winter? Would it be wise to move away from that now? I have no idea.
Google it. I don't know what that is.
I'm sure it's something super duper obvious, and I'm just going to be stupid because I don't know the actual proper name for it.
We'll look it up. Go to images. Oh, like the pattern that's on like China? Am I being ignorant right now? It's beautiful.
Toil is a fabric pattern.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, and I have been seeing these patterns on a lot of clothing. I would assume that it'll maintain because I don't think that it is a trend. It's more of something that probably the younger generation is just discovering. Whereas, they might say, oh, this reminds me of grandma's china cabinet, when I was a little kid. I have no idea, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to guess that because a lot of the retro grandma core themes are very, very popular with, the 70s, 80s, and 90s aesthetic. And I'm not saying that, the art is 70s, 80s, or 90s, but when you look at something like that, you immediately think vintage. I'm going to guess that it'll probably maintain popularity, but I'm probably not the best person to ask.
I'm new to Etsy and selling digital downloads. Should I expect an uptick for the holidays too? Potentially.
Yeah, completely depends on what are the digital downloads.
Like if they're for other people.
Yeah, well, a lot
to
of
use, then it'll be before that.
I have a lot of sellers who say, like, I don't create giftable products. Should I still run Black Friday sales? And a lot of people do a ton of shopping for Black Friday for themselves because they know that they're going to get, decent deals. So I think that it entirely depends on what you're selling. If you're new to Etsy, though, just remember that there are, especially in the digital download space, there are a lot of YouTubers who feed you high hopes by talking about making, millions and millions of sales. Just keep in mind that success takes a long time, and digital products, obviously, you're not able to price super duper high for them. Just make sure that you set realistic expectations. I think that a lot of YouTubers in the POD and digital download spaces, they feed you this dream lifestyle, but they don't disclose how long it took them to get there.
He does color by numbers.
Color by numbers.
And just for future reference, we do the questions in order. So if we haven't answered your question, it's usually because we haven't gotten to it yet.
Color by numbers. I think that there's always potential. Just, again, realistic growth. If you're not already making sales, Q4 is not a magic solution to no sales. So just continue working forward and trying. I would attempt to it's about building sustainability, right? It's about building a shop that sells all year round. And then during the holidays, it sells a little bit better because there are more shoppers. So just don't ever put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to like, oh, I have to make all my money like in Q4. Again, I think it completely depends. I don't know a lot about your shop. I don't know what it looks like. But I do think that there's definitely potential for products like yours to do well for the holidays. But again, also making sure that you're well optimizing them. And why should I buy one for the holiday season? Make sure your customers know that. Could it be, holiday activities for the kids? Could you incorporate in some holiday themed designs? Or maybe maybe they're more advanced. Maybe they're for adults to do. I think that there's definitely potential, though.
What is the cost of Etsy ads?
Whatever you want it to be. You can put as much money into your Etsy ads as you want to. I recommend actually starting with a small budget. Don't go into the negative when you're starting out. Experiment. I think that $5 for the sake of understanding how Etsy ads work and, collecting a little bit of data is a great starting place, just so you can experiment and see what to expect and see where to improve. Don't start off putting hundreds of dollars into your ads, though. Put a little bit here, a little bit there, learn the flow, figure out which of your products are selling well already. Make sure that you have a product that is ready to advertise, because you still have to have great photos, great SEO, solid pricing in order to convert that person who discovers your ad into a buyer. It doesn't just turn someone into a buyer. It just makes sure that more people see it. So you still have to put in a lot of work, but yeah, whatever you want it to be, just start small.
What are the cost of Etsy ads?
You just read that. Are you awake?
No.
You just read that and I answered it.
Hey, I'm weaning my medication, okay? I'm in a bit of a stupid zone right now.
He's trying to get off his, he's only been on them for a couple weeks and he's already...
I don't like the way they make me feel, and it seems more apparent that it's a physical issue that I have, not a mental issue. So Marc has parasols. Parasols are awesome. I initially founded this brand after dude from The Boys. Butcher. It's been years since we've watched it. Was wearing them. Now I tried the ones that he wore, and I looked like I not only sniffed the glue, but ate the container when I was done. It was bad. I looked so stupid. But then a couple years later, I find that I have an astigmatism and I need glasses. And they had a few different pairs at our optometrist. And I was like, wow, these actually look pretty nice. Now, if most of you know me from like back in the day, I'm a Gucci boy. All of my other glasses are Gucci's. But I tell you what, as far as comfort goes, these are the most comfortable glasses I've ever put on my face. So
him and his Gucci's.
I'm a Gucci boy. I'm Italian.
He does look, he's got some...
I look super hot in Gucci's. Get out of here. And most people don't. Most Gucci products look like they're AI generated. They look so stupid. Like
Gucci has some crazy stuff.
They're terrible because they're a high fashion company, and anybody that says that high fashion is good fashion is an idiot.
Just look, anytime you watch a runway and you see these people in ridiculous outfits, you're
they
like...
come out and they're just wearing a bunch of Walmart bags glued together, and they're like, this costs $14.5 million because some French guy made it. You're like, shut up.
It's almost always Gucci, though. Gucci is, they are just...
No, Gucci's not even close to the worst.
Oh, they're not the worst, but they've got some crazy ones.
I was into high fashion for a couple of years, not like wearing it, but the stuff that they made for the normies that's like, not $5,000 a pair. What is alt text?
Alt text is text associated with each of the images within your listings that help those with visual impairments to understand what your images are, using people who use screen readers. I think that as individuals with, halfway decent vision, we tend to forget that there are folks out there who may be blind or even just colorblind, for example, who do not see the way that we do. And the way that they interact with the internet's very different than us. So making our listings accessible to them makes our listings visible to them. It makes our listings something that they are able to perceive in the way that they perceive the world. A screen reader basically will, for someone who is blind, will allow them to hear what listing photos are as they scroll through the page. So when someone is shopping online and they want to buy a shirt, for example, that alt text might say, soft textured, yellow, unisex t-shirt with a happy black lab puppy wearing a purple witch's costume for Halloween. That gives you a very clear idea of what that product is, and someone who has a visual impairment might be able to decide to make a purchase for themselves based on that description. So getting your alt text as accurate as possible and not shoving it full of keywords is extremely important.
I know you guys have talked about it before. I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, trying to decide if I should put the store on vacation or push back product times. What do you think?
So there's two ways to handle it. I'm a big fan of taking your mental health break because it's already Etsy slow period. Things are, going to be a little quiet for the next few weeks. I'm a big fan of enjoying your vacation and not having
Yep.
to potentially respond to customers.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that your inbox is still open there. People are still going to message you and say, hey, can you ship my order out faster? Why haven't you shipped my order? Because they're not going to read.
So here's the downside of doing that. We'll do pros and cons. Like pros, obviously you get to just put your phone down and not worry about it. The cons are that when a listing undergoes a period of dormancy, whether that listing is sold out, inactive, or your shop is on vacation mode, the way that Etsy helps listings to maintain their positions in search is through customer interactions. Customers typing in keywords, finding those listings, clicking on them, favoriting them, buying them, reviewing them, clicking around, exploring your shop. This is all sending positive signals to Etsy. When you go on vacation mode, or if, a product is sold out or deactivated, those signals get cut off. And you don't lose your listing quality score, but those listings kind of go dormant, right? Etsy isn't paying attention to them. So that can, when you come back from vacation mode, make it seem like your traffic all disappeared. In reality, if you decide to go on vacation mode and you want to take, my recommended path, which is not having to deal with your phone, plan now for how you're going to make your comeback and how you're going to wake your listings back up. You can release new products. That's a great way to get Etsy to, hey, Etsy, I'm back. I'm
back.
I'm back. Start showing my stuff again. Or run a sale and advertise it everywhere. Get people off site, because you have a big Instagram following, get them into your shop and clicking around. That can help you to bounce back rather quickly. Alternatively, if you don't want to risk losing any of your position in search and you don't mind occasionally having to talk to customers, I would recommend making it very clear that you're on vacation, you're still accepting orders, but all orders will ship on X date. And then when people place orders in your shop, immediately send them a message letting them know, hey, just, didn't know if you saw this. I am on vacation right now. All orders will be shipping on this date. Is that okay with you? And if they message and say, no, I need it in 3 days, then you can say, unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. I would be more than happy to issue you a refund. At that point, issuing them a refund, which it doesn't count against you. No, you don't get in trouble for issuing a refund for an order. That would be better than potentially getting a bad review, which will overall, harm your overall customer and marketplace experience score. So it's totally up to you. I'm a big fan of just planning ahead, planning for a sale or a product release or whatever it may be, enjoying your time off, and then bouncing back.
Do you think that alt text would make Etsy flag the listing? So if it has the Lilo and Stitch. See, that's the hard thing. I don't know. I don't think we can answer that question because we don't know if Etsy is looking at the alt text.
They say that they're not. They say apparently external search engines like Google look at the alt text. Etsy, I believe.
See, that's the big thing, is Etsy's not looking at anything. They don't. It's not their job to do that. Etsy doesn't enforce copyright on behalf of copyright holders, but that doesn't necessarily mean that companies outside, somebody that owns the rights to something like Lilo and Stitch, might not discover it and get you in trouble. So I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people saying that their alt text was way wrong. Make sure you guys are going in and looking at your alt text just to be sure. Most of you, if it's a product that doesn't look similar to something copyright, you probably don't have anything to worry about, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's helpful alt text. It's like somebody said that they have a kid that has to use alt text. I used to do internet tech support, and I've had to help 2 or 3 people who were completely blind and were using their computers and had to use alt text to navigate their way to fix their internet problems.
Right.
Alt text does matter if you want to be able to sell to those people. And now is somebody ever going to look at your shop that needs it? Probably not. But there's a chance that it could. And you want to, just like optimizing every other section in your shop, you want to make sure that you're optimizing everything for any potential customer. Don't leave any cards off the table, because that's a card off the table.
Think of it like this. It's like asking the question, how important is it for me to make sure there is a wheelchair ramp outside of my store? I mean, it's not going to be that important to everyone, but the one person it is important to, it's going to be very important to, because they're not going to be able to get in your store. Think of it like that. Think of alt text as a wheelchair ramp.
Look at me. Any tips for moving from Etsy to Shopify? I've been putting it off because I want to everything that can be written, like policies, product descriptions, image names, etc., already first, so I don't waste any subscription time. Make sure you have your off-platform advertising going, because Shopify isn't going to sell for you.
Yeah, I'm doing Shopify right now, and I don't know if they're still doing this deal, but I got into Shopify during a deal where your first 3 or 4 months are only $1, which I'm on my last dollar month, which is why I'm trying to kick butt, because it's like $30 or $40 a month after that. So I would look in to see if they're still doing that deal, first of all, and maybe try to take advantage of that 3 to 4 months that you get for $1. Then you'll have a little more time. It is a learning curve. It's been a learning curve. It's definitely not as intuitive as, and I mean, we built our website with WordPress and Elementor. I frequently use lead pages. And
originally,
Wix.
I was just editing WordPress themes. That was a lot harder than Elementor.
Shopify, it's I'm having a lot of trouble with it, and I consider myself to be relatively internet savvy. I did use one of their free themes. They do have different themes, shop themes that you can buy. They get pretty pricey, and I'll be honest, I'm actually starting to regret not buying a theme. I'm using a free one right now, and it's stupid stuff. Like, I want to put an image in the middle of the page, and there's no way to just add an image into this existing theme. It's dumb stuff. So
Petty Pancake said it's $39 a month, but $29 if you do the annual payment.
I think that's what I did. I think I did the
So it's $29 a month.
Or maybe I did do monthly. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm getting billed $1 a month right now, but I'm not sure. It is pretty pricey.
Love The Witcher. Me too. It's really sad that they completely murdered the story for the sake of TV when it was already incredibly funny and a good story. If you are into The Witcher, if you like the TV show, I highly recommend reading the books. Just know that it is absolutely not politically correct at all. It was written in a time period where things that are said were a lot more politically acceptable than they are now.
And it's translated.
It is translated. They are not worrying about your sensitivities with the books, but they are very good books. They're very well written, and they're a quick read. Look up the correct reading order, though. If you buy the physical books, you don't want to read them by release order. You want to read them in chronological order. They're a lot less confusing. It's very similar to how the first season did the all over the place flip-flop. It does that anyway in the books, but it's way worse if you read it in release order.
Kim said some of the alt text said that my props might also be included in the listings. Man, guys, check your listings.
Please check your alt text.
Ugh.
How do you check to see if the tag words to see if they are good? Read the person that said you were deleting the wrong ones.
Your
tags?
To see if your tags are good. So there's erank.com is going to, and I've got a free trial link for any of the paid plans down below. Our basic plan, I'm a manager at eRank. Our basic plan is $5.99 a month, so it's pretty affordable. I don't get paid for recommending it. I'm not an affiliate. That's what I'm trying to say. But start there, because as long as you're on one of the paid plans, and again, you can do the 30-day trial, that's going to allow you to see the best data that we have. The most important thing that you're going to want to look at when it comes to, looking at your keywords is their search volume. So how many people on Etsy on average are searching for that term, and the competition level. So how many listings you're going to be competing with that also use that term. And finding a sweet spot is very, very hard. But it is possible. My second piece of advice is don't listen to anybody who says that tags are good or bad. That's not how keywords, there is no such thing really as a bad keyword. There are just keywords that have more searches than others. And sometimes it's okay to sacrifice low searches for lower competition. What I would recommend, since you're new, down below this video, expand out the description. There is a link below the video for my free ebooks, my free SEO ebooks. When you sign up for those free ebooks, you also get my free Etsy SEOodles course on the page where you download the ebooks. My free Etsy SEOodles course is included in there. And the first video in that course teaches you how Etsy's algorithm works in the 7 factors that Etsy uses to rank your listings in search. And then there's a step-by-step tutorial on actually doing your keyword research. So I would start there. Please keep in mind that eRank aesthetically has changed since those videos recorded. eRank has rebranded to a new green theme, but the research process and everything is exactly the same. Start there because that will give you an awesome idea of how to identify keywords that will hopefully work for your listings. I do not make Christmas stuff. Okay.
Okay. Last one. We're out of time. But
Sure.
Where did your wolf theme come from for your brand? And where did the course come from?
So the wolf theme, when we lived in California, I was actually talking to a friend who was an editor at Zulily. I don't know if I even told you this, Mr. Moore. My friend Eric, the one who follows Baby Metal around and goes to Japan. He was an editor for Zulily. He was longtime childhood friend, and because he worked in e-commerce already, I had originally had an idea to create a YouTube channel called Handmade Wolf Pack. Because I love wolves. I've got gazillion wolf tattoos. I had planned to do a community called Handmade Wolf Pack where we specifically just gave each other tips and things like that, because at the time I was running a 6-figure handmade jewelry business. And that ended up not turning out. My business at the time, my handmade jewelry business, was so busy. I did create a few how to set up an Etsy shop YouTube videos. They're still probably buried back on my channel. They're not relevant anymore. It was like back the old version of Etsy, but that's where I kind of got my start creating YouTube videos. And this has been, this has been over 10 years ago. When we moved, after his military enlistment ended, when we moved back to Ohio, I decided to start doing the YouTube videos again. I was doing them from my upstairs office, and I started covering, for example, I did the very first, one of my very first videos was how to use eRank, which was at the time Etsy Rank. And that video did so well that Debbie, who works at eRank, actually put me into contact with Anthony Wolf, our CEO. Now he's one of our best friends. And that's how, way back when I got associated with him. As I built this channel and our community started to grow and, my jewelry business was doing very well, I started having people asking me if I would do one-on-one coaching. But because I had the jewelry business that I was running, I was doing a lot of assistant work at the time for eRank. And our daughter was very young, still in kindergarten, first grade. I was trying to think of a good way to basically teach the same stuff, because I knew that I would teach the same material to everyone, but how do I become 100 people? So the next logical step, because I already had a background in teaching, I went to school to be a preschool teacher. I busted out all of my books from school about curriculum building, for children. And I basically said, how can I flip this content structure, this curriculum structure, into a course that someone could go in and it would feel like they're working one-on-one with me, which is why HAA, for students who are in there, let me know if you've taken any other courses, because I've taken a lot of courses and none of the ones I've personally taken are built the way HAA is. And I think that you can definitely tell that my background is in teaching. Let me know comparatively, the structure, not content wise, but the structure, if you feel like HAA is, is a good, I don't know, if it feels more like a class, like a school. So that's how I started. And we ended up getting just a bunch of my friends that were already in the handmade community to beta test the program. And a couple of the very first diehard fans in the alpha community to beta test it. And it went through several evolutions. The very first version of HAA, I cannot believe that people even bought it, because we launched it, and I don't know, the first launch went so well. And we had such a small audience, but Amber Marie, who we talk about all the time, she was the first to buy. She enrolled our very first enrollment period 30 seconds after doors opened. And she, to this day, is one of our most successful students to ever come out
She's
of
awesome.
HAA. But yeah, that's kind of I've always known that I wanted to teach. I actually did teach a couple. Do you remember this? I taught a couple of holiday workshops at Beale when we were stationed out there. I in the rec center, I actually taught holiday classes to business owners in the rec center. But yeah, I've always wanted to teach. This year I'm actually my high school that I graduated from, I still do a lot of work with their seniors, and helping them with, career readiness and online personas and making sure that they're, representing themselves professionally online, not posting like all their party pictures on public facing platforms where possible employers could see them, just making sure that they understand that paper trails and that their online footprint will follow them, just teaching them how to conduct themselves online if they want to have a career, especially if they want to build one themselves. But this year I'm actually going to be on their board, helping them to modernize their curriculums because it's a tech school. So you're learning how to be a professional while you're in high school. So they're having me come back. But yeah, I absolutely love to teach. I love working with adults. I really love working with teenagers. I think that teenagers are so fun because it's so easy to inspire them to like really take control of their lives, especially when they're feeling like they don't know what they want to do. It's really fun to give them like a lot of different options and to break the mold that I think a lot of them have observed through media where they think that like college is the only path. My high school, I came from a hometown that was so poor. I mean, we're like one of the top like drug overdose cities in the world, or in the United States. And being able to talk to these kids who really don't feel like they have a future or the ability to go to college and say, depending on what they want to do, obviously, if you're going to be a doctor, you got to go to college. But some of them, I say, you guys have a skill right now. Our computer graphic arts students out there, they're primarily the ones that I talk to because they're the ones who are, working online, building online businesses. And I tell them all the time, yes, college is an option, but if you're one of those who you don't feel like it's for you or you don't have the money for it, or, a lot of them, have moms that are sick, single moms that are, basically these kids are having to go get jobs to help support their families. And there's no way that they're going to have time for college. And what I try to express to them is that it is not a necessary path for everyone to be successful. It's not the only way. I didn't go to college. I went to a tech school to become a teacher and started getting my college credit, but then did not end up going to college. I pursued a path of self-education. Really, I spent a lot of time going to the library in my younger days. Our friends were out partying and getting drunk, and I was home reading. So I did most of what I've built today just based on, reading a lot of books, human psychology books, taking a lot of online courses and trying things and experimenting. But anyway.
Emo Kitsune said, I remember when I was a teenager and super optimistic before real life as an adult crushed my optimism. Here's the thing. Nowhere in life, and a lot of people, I think, just it takes taking a step back. If you play a sport, you play a video game, you don't win every match. And sometimes you lose 10 or 15 matches in a row. It's just how it is. Life's the same way. And sometimes you keep losing and you just can't seem to win a match. After 20 or 30 matches, maybe that's not the game for you and you need to switch up what you're playing.
Yeah.
You can't expect to succeed in every single thing that you do. And having an expectation of success is what makes it crush so hard. Keep your expectations low. Keep your optimism high. Plan for success. Don't expect success.
2 comments I want to grab. Some community colleges have an entrepreneurship certificate. I feel like how do I say this? When colleges are asking me to come teach their marketing classes, which I went to the University of Dayton to speak to their omni-channel marketing classes, and those students know less about marketing from their omni-channel marketing classes. Like I went in to talk about marketing and I started out, asking them about marketing funnels, and they didn't even know what that was, and we had to backtrack. And that professor is still trying to get me to come in and talk to her class. I don't feel like I need the certificate from a college when I could probably go get one when the colleges are asking me to come speak at them.
Unless
you know what I mean?
Unless you're doing something that requires a
Right.
degree for a job specifically, like it is a qualification of the job.
Right.
I really think college is a waste of time. I do. Unless you're like in a medical
doctor
field, you're in a logical field, like a mathematical field, a scientific field, something that requires higher levels of learning and usually also has like labs and things with people who do the job for a living that can show you how to like safety procedures and proper procedures and different methods of doing things. Like that's one thing, but a huge majority of jobs, even some like lower entry level medical jobs, really college is just something to put on your resume. It's not something that really matters, but college is a way to find out the questions that you didn't know you needed to ask. That's the primary purpose for most degrees. Like you could learn on YouTube how to be a plumber. You could learn on YouTube how to be a mechanic.
There's MOOCs too.
There's tons of different ways to accomplish the same thing. College is for an accreditation.
Yeah.
That's it.
MOOCs are free on college courses that you don't get your degree, or you don't get any certificate saying that you completed it, but if you just want the information, MOOC, you can take MOOCs.
Mm-hmm. If you're in the military, you can actually just take a test and get college credits. Like there's a bunch of different ways you can do it for free.
And I did want to grab just Frank's question. He had said it's up towards the top, but he had asked about looking at competitors who are using one-word tags, and you're not supposed to use one-word tags, but why are, high-performing sellers using them? I get this question a lot. So don't use a high-performance seller as your model for building your shop, because a high-performance seller is someone who has likely been on Etsy for a longer period of time, or they have sent traffic from somewhere else. It's usually one of the two. They've either been selling for a while, and because of that, despite not following Etsy's best practices, Etsy has, through data collection based on the consumers and the signals that seller is providing to Etsy through their keywords, those two things have helped Etsy to establish a clear picture of what the products are and who should buy them, even if that seller is not using Etsy's best practices for keywords. And because that seller's been around for so long and has so much data for Etsy to go off of, Etsy's able to appropriately rank those listings in search and connect them with the right buyers. Alternatively, if it is a newer seller, potentially someone who has a YouTube channel or a big TikTok following, or, they're sending traffic from somewhere, because of that, again, same case, Etsy has a lot of data from the buyers who are coming in and buying, and that is helping to get those listing quality scores up, the score that helps each listing to rank in search. It is helping those listing quality scores to grow. Despite not having the best keywords, Etsy is still able to figure out what that product is. For the majority of sellers who are still having to work really hard to compete, we have to take every little strand we can get. That is why you should never try to copy all of the tags, for example, of a high-performance shop and assume that they're going to work for you, especially if they're not following Etsy's best practices. That seller has an advantage that you are not going to be. There's no way that you can make your shop start at a earlier date. You know what I mean? You can't create more history for your shop. If they started before you, they automatically have an advantage. So you've got to find advantages in other ways. Your advantage might be that you have the coolest packaging ever. Your advantage might be that you have a better average star rating. Your advantage might be that your product photos are way better. Your advantage might be that your branding is super professional, and when someone gets in your shop, it just feels more upscale than, their crappy clip art branding, for example. But don't copy the strategies of those who are doing better than you, because they're likely doing better than you based on a factor that you aren't going to be able to replicate. I think that's it.
Yep. And Carrie had said, I'm a special ed teacher by trade with a master's, and there is no way I would recommend college to any student unless they had a specific need that requires it, or if it's free. Now, one higher education thing that I do think that a lot of people should take, that I think the hope that most colleges will have, and if you've been to college and then you worked in a job where you needed that college degree and you're like, man, I learned more on the job in the first 6 months than I ever did through college, it's because usually when you start working on the actual job, you start developing the critical thinking skills necessary to actually accomplish that job. And that is what college fails to do. Handing someone a book, reading them a lecture does not get someone to actually think about the subject. It gets them to memorize the information in the book. It doesn't have any real world application. So something I really highly recommend, and this is something that the military does, especially I come from an intelligence discipline. I worked in military intelligence for 6 years. I was in training for 8 months. Most of what I learned in training was completely useless, I thought. However, it was to help develop critical thinking skills that we didn't know we were developing. I only really used about a month's worth of what I learned, and that was additional training after my training. If you guys can, take a critical thinking class. It basically, in a nutshell, it's how can I get from point A to point B is how most people think. Where critical thinking is, if there's a roadblock from point A to point B, what are the alternatives that I can use to get from point A to point B? Or is point B even worth getting to? Maybe I need to get to point C, point D instead. And it allows your brain to start considering all of the factors of information before making a decision. And as you get better at doing that, you tend to get better at making decisions. You tend to make fewer mistakes. You tend to think before you speak. And it really does help you to get your thoughts out in a logical way. And it's usually relatively like friendly for people who think differently or have ADHD or autism or whatever. Everybody's going to have their own way of accomplishing critical thinking, but critical thinking is not an inherent human trait. It has to be taught and it has to be learned.
Yeah.
So I really do highly recommend taking some classes or just getting a book on critical thinking skills, because it will improve your life so much. It'll help you manage your relationships better. It'll help you be a better parent or a better child, a better friend. It'll make you better in business. It'll make you better in your finances. And if you're trying to like lose weight or whatever, it helps with rationalization. It can improve every aspect of your life. So I don't believe in higher education, but critical thinking absolutely is something you guys should take classes.
Hannah said, I'm done critical thinking. I want to live in the wild, naked and forage.
Dude,
I wish we could.
if we could all do that and work together as a society, I'd be right there with you. We can forage and pick mushrooms in the forest. I don't care.
Tina was talking about enjoying her art school. Maybe art schools are different though.
It depends on what you're doing, because
Yeah,
like we
I
had
think-
somebody comment in here, a lot of people go to art school and then they end up homeless. Like
Right.
it's for most people it's a useless degree, but that again requires you to have the creativity to know, here I have this degree, here are the things that I know I can do with it. And it might not even be here's the things I know I can do with it. Here's the things that are available to me without having to move somewhere else.
Right.
Because there's a lot of art jobs out there, but like if you're living in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, what is there available? There's like a corner store and a couple of restaurants, and then everybody else is a farmer. Like, what are you going to do with that degree? So I think opportunity is a big thing when it comes to college.
I missed the spooky content. Don't worry, I'm making a video on Tuesday where I'm gonna do like a shorter version. There's a lot of fun spooky stuff though. Lots of stuff at Michael's. Guys, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you. I have had. Let me tell you, I've had a crap week because my video on Tuesday is my fastest growing video ever, and I've almost had to turn off the comments. We've had so many people attack our charity for the Trevor Project, and let me tell you, not my people. Like
Here's the thing that I keep saying that she doesn't realize is more than half of all internet traffic is AI.
I know.
So she's getting mad at a literal robot that doesn't even have a person behind it anymore.
I know.
Excuse me.
The awful comment when we're doing a charity for kids, it really makes me. I don't care if they say mean things about me, but I really hate when people say things about our charity.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate you so much. Tuesday, I'll be covering more Halloween trends, additional trends, I think. I'm covering more Halloween trends. It'll be a good short video. I'm ready for a good, short, concise, edited video. Feel free to watch my video on Tuesday. It's going to hit like 200,000 views by the end of the weekend. You know what the good thing about that video is? That sucker's going to make like over $1,000 in monetization. So every little troll who's in there being mean.
Thanks for your money.
Thanks for your,
Thanks for it. I'm going to buy a special steak dinner just for me.
No, for me. I'm the one who's dealing with all the meanies. But feel free to check it out. I do think it was a great video. It talks about Etsy's updated creativity standards, everything that we know so far. some of my personal speculation on why they're making some of the decisions. Again, it's not 100% because I'm only able to cover what Etsy has published, but I was able to kind of give my own perspectives based on that. Yeah.
Okay.
We love you guys.
We love you guys.
Is it the wrong outro?
Nope, it's the right one. I fixed it. If it's not, the video is just going to suddenly end. Love you guys.
See you guys. Bye.
It's the correct one.
Okay.
I did it.